30 lakh rupees. 20 years of one man's careful saving, about to be spent in 4 days. Today I'm going to walk you through the honest ledger of a big Indian wedding. What the money actually buys, what the loan on top of it does to a family for 5 years, and what that same money could have become over 30. This is not a video against weddings. It's a video against a system that prices love in front of an audience. And stay till the end, because this family finds a third option, and it feels like relief, not loss. Meet Priya's father. He runs a small business in Jaipur, and for 20 years, he has saved with a single picture in his head: his daughter's wedding. Every skipped holiday, every postponed renovation, every quiet compromise flowed into one fixed deposit with one sacred purpose. The corpus stands at 30 lakh rupees, and it is still not enough. The venue everyone expects, the four functions, the 600 guests, the quotations add up to more. So he does what lakhs of Indian fathers do every wedding season. He walks into a bank. He signs for a personal loan of 8 lakh rupees at 14% interest, repayable over 5 years. The EMI works out to nearly 19,000 rupees a month. By the final payment, those 8 lakh will have cost the family more than 11. Nobody at the wedding will know. The loan doesn't appear in any photograph. It appears later, in the 5 years of his working life that have already been spent before the first guest sits down to eat. Now open the ledger, because almost nobody does. The venue and the decor take the biggest slice. Flowers flown in from another country that will wilt by midnight. A stage the couple stands on for 3 hours. Then catering, dinner after dinner across 4 functions for 600 people. And here is the quiet detail. Ask the couple honestly, and they barely know half that guest list. Outfits worn once, jewelry, the photographer, the drone, the choreographed Sangeet. Every single line feels defensible. The total is not. Then the wedding ends and the EMI begins. 19,000 rupees a month, every month for 60 months. For this family, it means the shop renovation waits, the health cover stays thin, and the father works years longer than he had planned. An EMI for a house leaves behind a house. This one leaves behind the memory of feeding 600 people, many of whom would struggle to pick the groom out of a crowd. And now, the number that should be printed on every wedding contract. 30 lakh rupees left invested at 12% is roughly 3 crore in 20 years. 3 crore. That is a complete retirement for the parents. Or it is the down payment that saves Priya and her husband from their own EMI trap. The one check that changes the financial physics of a young marriage. One evening of dancing for 600 acquaintances weighed against 3 decades of compounding. Nobody frames it that way at the planning table, which is exactly why it keeps happening. So why does it keep happening? Because a big Indian wedding is not an event. It is a broadcast. Log kya kahenge? What will people say? 4 words that have moved more money in this country than any stock market ever has. The scale of the wedding announces the family's standing, repays decades of attended functions, and signals to the new in-laws that the daughter comes from people of substance. The food is for the guests. The bill is for the audience. And the signal has a ratchet. Last season, someone in the circle added a destination. So this season, a destination is the floor. Someone hired a film crew, so a film crew is now standard. Nobody remembers the dal at last year's wedding, but everyone remembers what the wedding implied. Each celebration quietly sets the minimum for the next family in line. The ratchet turns one way until somebody in the circle finds the courage to turn it back. The vendors know all this and they price for it. There is even a name for it: the Shaadi tax. The same marigolds cost triple the moment the word wedding enters the conversation. The same hall, the same biryani, the same photographer. Quote it for a birthday and watch the price fall by half. Wedding pricing is not cost plus profit. It is sentiment multiplied by deadline. The market has learned that a father buying his daughter's honor does not negotiate. So he is charged not for the flowers but for the love.
Now, here's what this video is not saying. Priya's father is not a fool and he is not the villain. He is doing exactly what his father did, what his community expects, what every signal around him has spent 60 years calling love. In his ledger, this is not spending, it is duty, finally fulfilled. The villain is not the man. It is the system that convinced an entire generation that the size of the celebration measures the depth of the feeling. You cannot blame a man for paying a tax he was raised to believe in. But there is an alternative, and it is quietly gaining ground. Call it the 5 lakh wedding. One beautiful venue for one full day instead of 4. 200 guests who actually know the couple. People who would notice if they weren't invited, not people who would notice if the paneer was cold. The rituals stay, the fairas stay, the mother still cries, the friends still dance badly, the photographs still blow. Everything that makes a wedding survives. The broadcast is the only casualty. And then the move that changes everything. The 25 lakh that is saved does not crawl back into a fixed deposit. It goes to the couple as a long-term SIP in their names. A gift that compounds through the marriage itself. At 12%, it roughly triples by their 10th anniversary and crosses 2 crore around their silver one. Picture that. Every year, the marriage grows older, the wedding gift grows larger. The 4-day party is gone by Monday. This gift outlives the marigolds by 30 years. In our story, that is what happens. And it is Priya who says it first, gently in the kitchen. Papa, I want the marriage, not the show. The family chooses the smaller wedding, and the strange thing they discover is relief. The father dances more at 200 guests than he would have hosted at 600. No EMI follows him home. The fixed deposit becomes his retirement and her future instead of one long, expensive evening. 20 years of saving finally spent on the next 30 instead of on 4 days. That is the trade. 1 day versus 30 years. If this changed how you see the big fat Indian wedding, Money Decoded has more for you. There's a video on how 500 rupees a day becomes 5 crore. The boring SIP math that powers the couple's gift. One on why your first crore is the slowest. And one on the EMI trap that quietly eats middle class salaries. Watch those next. No hype, no stock tips, just the boring math that actually works. This is education, not personal financial advice. See you in the next one.